You can listen to The Professional Left wherever you get your podcasts, on Netroots Radio, or at our website, proleftpod.com, where you can also contribute to this podcast. There's a PayPal button at our website, or you can mail us a letter and or contribution at P.O. Box 9133, Springfield, Illinois, 62791.
This is the podcast for July 22nd, 2025. It's not safe for work.
Recorded live from the Cornfield Resistance, where today we note the 100th anniversary of a Dayton, Tennessee jury returning a guilty verdict against John Scopes for teaching evolution in the classroom. And that was the end of that. No one ever heard another word about that again. It's The Professional Left with Driftglass and Blue Gal.
This is from the movie Inherit the Wind, which was a lightly fictionalized version of the Scopes trial, starring Spencer Tracy as the Clarence Darrow stand-in, Henry Drummond, Frederick March as the William Jennings Bryan stand-in, Matthew Harrison Brady, and Gene Kelly as the H.L. Mencken stand-in, E.K. Hornbeck.
That if you take a law like evolution and you make it a crime to teach it in the public schools, tomorrow you can make it a crime to teach it in the private schools. And tomorrow you may make it a crime to read about it, and soon you may ban books and newspapers. And then you may turn Catholic against Protestant, and Protestant against Protestant, and try to foist your own religion upon the mind of man. If you can do one, you can do the other, because fanaticism and ignorance is forever busy and needs feeding. And soon, Your Honor, with banners flying and with drums beating, we'll be marching backward, through the glorious ages of that 16th century, when bigots burned the man who dared bring enlightenment and intelligence to the human mind.
I hope counsel does not mean to imply that this court is bigoted.
Well, Your Honor has the right to hope.
So if you want to feel old, remember that the movie was released in 1960. And that was 35 years after the Scopes trial in Dayton, Tennessee in 1925, which is why we're talking about it today. And the year we are living through right now, 2025, is 65 years after the movie was made. And Blue Gal, that is tragic testament to both how much and how little has changed in the century since the Scopes trial.
Yep.
For example, then as now, there is a brand new medium that's reaching the public in new ways. The new medium this time around isn't radio. It's called podcasting. It's also called YouTube and TikTok and a bunch of other stuff. On the other hand, there are no more H.L. Menckens writing for nationally syndicated newspapers with huge audiences that can move public opinion, and more's the pity. In 1925, the loss of the court case was a minor matter because thanks to radio and H.L. Mencken and the eloquence of Clarence Darrow, Scopes and evolution were vindicated in the much wider court of public opinion. But in case you hadn't noticed, boys and girls, the ideological descendants of the fundamentalist rubes of Dayton, Tennessee, now have their own political party. In fact, they run the entire federal government. They have billionaires financing their madness and their mayhem. And they dominate both the old media of cable news and hate radio and the new media of Substack and podcasts and TikTok and so forth. Because Clarence Darrow was, in fact, 100% right. Fanaticism and ignorance are forever busy and need feeding. And for the last 50 years, the Republican Party has been feeding the fanatics and the ignorant red meat, which is how we got to where we are today.
And not just the Republican Party, very specific billionaires have been funding a Republican Party to feed easily, fooled people into voting against their economic interests. And I find it really interesting that Donald Trump is suing Rupert Murdoch, not the Wall Street Journal, not Fox.
Right.
This is personal between the two men.
Uh-huh.
And Rupert Murdoch doesn't just own the Wall Street Journal. He owns Fox. He owns the New York Post. He owns Sky News, et cetera, et cetera. And he can play all of those to different audiences and like a fiddle. So the Wall Street Journal, which caters to people who read books without pictures in them.
And who have money.
Can be the reasonable one that looks at the evidence and presents, the papers and the files and the Epstein controversy as an actual serious news story. And then Fox completely ignores it And who knows what the New York Post is going to do day to day.
Right.
If a salacious picture comes out that's going to sell papers, they may run it.
Well,
that's a tabloid. So,
in addition to all the other things that Rupert Murdoch owns, he thought he owned the Republican Party.
Exactly, because he can turn on a dime, and Fox pretends that the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post are separate entities.
Right, they're not.
So
they're not.
It says in the New Wall Street Journal today that blah blah blah. Except when the Wall Street Journal writes about the Epstein files, then it's never heard of them.
Oh, and there used to be a third pillar to that trifecta, which was the Weekly Standard.
Yeah.
Bill Kristol's Weekly Standard. The Weekly Standard didn't come into existence overnight out of nowhere. It was Rupert Murdoch giving him a giant bag of money and told him, look, I need a much higher end conservative propaganda outlet than I have with the Wall Street Journal or the New York Post or Fox News. I need you to go hire good writers who can turn my right-wing garbage into comprehensible prose for elevated adults. And the Weekly Standard never made any money.
Yeah.
They were a losing proposition every year. They only ever had like 50,000 subscribers, but they were the 50,000 most important subscribers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they were quoted as being serious intellectuals.
Right. They got
everywhere.
That's what got the credentials that David Brooks got from there is what got him a job at the New York Times.
Right.
And credentials from that publication is what got people on Meet the Press and This Week, back when television, existed as a comprehensive media, and there were 3 stations and a few cable channels to choose from, and that was it.
And you would actually watch the Sunday shows to be informed.
Well, I never did
by
that.
Some people's standards. My dad did. My dad watched the Sunday shows.
Yeah. Oh, I watched them too, but to deconstruct them as opposed to. Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about movies like Inherit the Wind and so forth, and Driftglass and I love talking about presentations of fiction.
Yes, we do.
We're going to spend a little time today talking about a very old play and a very new movie that have a lot in common, not the least of which is we've seen them both in the past week.
Yeah, past 4 days, yeah.
They both of them have father and stepfather issues.
Yeah.
Now, the play is Hamlet, which once a year, at least for the past 2 years, we've gone to the Illinois Shakespeare Festival in beautiful Bloomington, Illinois. And I love this production. I thought it was terrific.
It was awesome. It was
and
great.
Then we went to see Superman, the movie, which hopefully most of you have seen. We're going to try to avoid spoilers today. We saw it yesterday in a near empty and blessedly cool theater here in Springfield, Illinois. Paid a lot of money. I mean, I thought that Hamlet was worth the money, and Superman with 30 minutes of previews and ads.
Literally 30 minutes of ads.
Yeah, literally. I asked Driftglass, what time is it once the actual movie started? And it was 30 minutes in from the start time. And I know that's typical, but it is real waste of time.
We're both old enough to remember when PBS and movies was where you went to avoid commercials.
Right.
Because that's what you're paying.
And you paid extra and you didn't have Coca-Cola commercials.
Right.
And so forth. M&M's commercials.
And what we noticed about previews for almost every other movie, there were a couple of them that are worth is they're all very loud.
Yes.
Now they just scream at you to go see this punch up thing.
Yeah.
Which doesn't work on us because...
And I don't remember what the movie was, but there was one in particular that I thought if they just turned down the volume a little bit, I might be interested in seeing that movie, but it's so loud.
And Hamlet wasn't loud. It was the volume of the actors was enough to reach the back row as it's supposed to be in a good play.
In a sold-out performance.
Yeah. Oh, and just as a point of fact, we did have breakfast or brunch the next day with a listener up in beautiful Normal, Illinois, which is adjacent to Bloomington, Illinois. And lo and behold, who comes traipsing in like he never did nothing wrong, but Claudius himself.
The actor who played Claudius walked in.
And we stood up and went, you, no. We both were
king.
The king is here.
Breakfast with the king.
And he was I think he was pleased that we recognized him, and we were delighted that he was there. He did a great job. They all did a great job.
They all did a great job. Yeah. And it's a mixture of graduate students in theater and Actors Equity.
Yeah.
actors. And
the heat
all of
wave
them
and-
were very talented.
The heat wave and rain that have stomped on us the last few days and are going to continue stomping on us for the next didn't hit until the next morning. So it was a beautiful, clear blue sky.
Yeah, it was a lovely. We had perfect weather. Actually, last year we had perfect weather also. I hope, fingers crossed, that continues to hold.
Yeah.
All right, but we're going back, Hamlet and Superman. We're going to talk about fathers and sons and princes and kings. And since we have no kings or princes in this country, let's talk about recent presidents and fatherhood. This is from the Washington Post, June 19th, 2016. Quote, Obama's most unusual legacy, being a good dad. An analysis of past presidents show how unusual Obama's hands-on parenting really is. By nature a nurturer, Obama is just one of a handful of presidents who have been exemplary dads, what child development experts call authoritative parents. This type of dad is loving, but sets firm limits. Based on my research, which consisted of a close examination of major biographies, immersion in family correspondence at various archives, and some interviews with children and grandchildren of recent presidents, I have found that few presidents fall into this category. The other members of this small fraternity include James Monroe, Rutherford B. Hayes, Harry Truman, and Gerald Ford. Truman doted on his only child, Margaret, who described herself as a total daddy's girl.
Yeah, I believe he threatened to punch someone in the face.
Yeah, he could get quite violent if somebody dissed his daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And her singing.
Yeah.
Obama seeks to turn his own story into public policy. The blight that now blankets devastated parts of cities such as Baltimore, he argues, can be addressed if more black men can be inspired to do for their children what their fathers never did for them. This was the impetus behind the president's decision in 2014 to establish My Brother's Keeper, a community-based initiative designed to help young men of color reach their full potential. Obama has hinted that he plans to stay involved in this cause long after his presidency is over. For Obama, good parenting is a powerful tool for social transformation. It may also be a key component of his legacy, unquote. President Obama didn't just model good parenting, as many of you know. Millions of kids looked up to him as a kind of stand-in dad.
Yeah.
And if you saw him show up at a high school graduation, and you would see black children crying because Obama showed up at their graduation, and he was a stand-in dad. He was kind and gentle and clearly loved goofing around with kids everywhere, but particularly in the White House and in the Oval Office. Mm-hmm. And when he visited classrooms in the public schools.
And he could make a crying baby stop crying. And when they wanted to touch his hair, they'd go, sure, go ahead.
That's the most famous picture of the Obama White House is the black child wanting to touch Obama's hair.
Obama kneeling and a child touching his. It's just he was so good with kids, and that you can't fake that. And much of that is true of Joe Biden as well. He had just a man of great character, calm competence, and no one can doubt how deeply he cares for his kids or his grandkids. That's just written into his DNA. This is from CNN, November 2nd, 2020. Quote, America has chosen Democrat Joe Biden as its 46th president, CNN projects, turning at a time of national crisis to a man whose character was forged by aching personal tragedy and who is pledging to restore calm and truth after Donald Trump's exhausting and manic single term. In a victory speech on Saturday night in his hometown of Wilmington, Delaware, Biden said he was humbled by the trust America had placed in him and reached out to those Americans who did not vote for him, which is markedly different than the losers and liars and scumbags that we're routinely called by Donald Trump. This is returning to the article, quote, I understand the disappointment tonight. I've lost a couple of times myself, but now let's give each other a chance, Biden said. This is a time to heal in America, unquote. And what was Trump up to when the election was called? This is again from CNN, quote, Trump, who was on the golf course when CNN and other networks called the race for the former vice president, has shown no indication that he intends to concede. While en route to his course in Virginia, he tweeted, "I won this election by a lot," unquote. And we all remember how that turned out. So, how does Trump stack up as a husband and a father? This is from the Brookings Institute. It's the kindest assessment I could find. Because he's just an awful fucking monster in every dimension.
And I don't think Ivanka is speaking to him anymore.
I don't think so either. And just, you bury your ex-wife on your golf course.
Yeah.
What sort
right.
just and it's just everyone knows this guy's a fucking monster. But this is, again, the nicest way to put it is from the Brookings Institute, May 21st, 2024, quote, "The Trump guilty verdict shows the importance of character. The evidence of the trial convinced the jury about a narrative that said Trump had an affair with a porn star while his wife was at home with their newborn baby. As testimony seeped out, it became clear that Trump's motive was not to protect his wife, but to promote his election," unquote.
Yep. He was not interested in protecting her from the news that he slept with a porn star.
No, he didn't give a shit about his family, except, how he can use them.
Contrast that with this from Joe Biden in June of the same year. Quote, "As I said last week, I am the president, but I am also a dad. Jill and I love our son, and we are so proud of the man he is today. So many families who have had loved ones battle addiction understand the feeling of pride, seeing someone you love come out the other side and be so strong and resilient in recovery," unquote. I mean, he just prayed his way through. Can you imagine your child being a crack addict?
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh. On his worst day, Joe Biden is 1,000 times the father, husband, and public servant that Donald Trump has ever been on his best day. And as you know, President Pedophile and his henchmen are now dredging up every half-remembered, long-debunked MAGA conspiracy theory, including the Hunter Biden laptop thing, to try to distract from his deep complicity in and cover-up of his dead best friend's child sex trafficking business, in which it's looking more and more every day like he was involved in some way.
Deeply involved in some really, really
gross
bad way. Gross, bad way, yeah.
I mean, I have to say, they trotted out Marsha Blackburn to talk about Hillary's emails today.
Yeah.
That's how desperate they are.
Yeah.
Anything to stick to the wall.
Anything.
And here's some rando with 300,000 Twitter followers, so it could be a bot, but...
Nah.
Quote, "Never forget that Obama ruined the best healthcare system in the world."
Yeah. Damn it. Those goddamn death panels, Blue Cal. Those goddamn... It was all true.
The death panels. That's right.
Yeah.
He even lied when he told us if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Did you know that Obama stole $750 billion from Medicare to help fund Obamacare? Unquote. So this is where they're going. And
remember, they do have a really precise memory of not the actual past, but of every stupid, crazy conspiracy theory they ever believed in that they don't remember the part about being debunked or falling flat on their face. They just remember that Obama stored $750 billion from Medicare. I know it because I remember it. And now it's all coming back to the surface because...
Right, which is a lie, by the way.
Which is why you got to put these people down permanently.
Well, and Driftglass, I want you to know that Stuart Rhodes, the eye patch guy who was put in prison for seditious conspiracy for 20 years.
Guy. Yeah.
And Trump pardoned him because Trump was too lazy to go through the list and figure out who was really dangerous.
Right.
Well, Stuart Rhodes is on the side of finding out everything about Epstein. Okay. Sure. But his theory is that Donald Trump is being controlled by the deep state which has snuck into his administration.
Right.
And they're holding Trump back from releasing Epstein files.
This is
somehow.
As we coined, and has been borrowed by at least one of our friends, the derp state.
The derp state, yes.
The derp state.
The derp, well, that deep state is going to come back. And when the Democrat Party gets back in the White House, that means the deep state has won. This is all according to freed convict Stuart Rhodes.
Traitor and American terrorist.
He has arranged every fact to line up to where Donald Trump is completely innocent.
Sure.
And malicious forces inside and outside of the Trump White House are conspiring. And that takes care of everything.
Well, and this is why if you are operating a large A or B list podcast out there, and you need some MAGA freak to go on your podcast and say crazy shit, you don't need to get them. Just hire us. Because we know what they think like. We live among them. We can imitate them. We're both writers. We can imitate them with a startling degree of accuracy. So if you ever need a not H.L. Mencken, but a Hornbeck version, a lightly fictionalized version of a MAGA troll, we're real good at that. We can do that all day long.
I was reading on Reddit about a person who was very upset that the place where they were having their vacation had also been rented out by a group.
Oh, no.
That was MAGA and definite conspiracy theories and all of that. And how dare this outlet rent out and charter a part of their area so I can't enjoy my vacation because MAGA is around. And I was like, I can't go to the doctor without a Make America Great Again hat in the waiting room.
Right. I can't go to any hardware store within spitting distance of here without having to cross many lines.
Without Trump 2016 bumper stickers on the trucks.
Yeah.
Yep. So, pardon me about your ruined quote-unquote vacation where you had your own room.
I think your solution to that person or those people was go find a library. They'll never find you there.
That's right. Is there a library nearby where you're staying? Could you go there?
Get a drink, go to the library, read a good book, and
you
forget
won't find
that they
anyone. You won't find anyone in the library.
No, just don't read 1984. It'll give you bad.
No, that'll make you feel bad. All right. So Donald Trump, I guess this is on Truth Social, said, quote, "We had the greatest 6 months of any president in the history of our country, and all the fake news wants to talk about is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax," unquote. And again from Trump, and here we go, quote, "Obama himself manufactured the Russia hoax."
Yep.
Crooked Hillary, Sleepy Joe, and numerous others participated in this, the crime of the century. Irrefutable evidence, a major threat to our country, unquote. So it seems only fair, since we've given part of our airtime to crazy clown president Donald Trump, to clear the deck and let Joe Biden's son have his say. But let's preface that with this from, I'm sorry to say, Chris Cillizza in the Daily Beast, who you might remember was laid off from CNN 3 years ago for being terrible at his job, and is saying the single most clueless Chris Cillizza thing we've heard in months. Quote, "Hunter Biden really needs to shut it. Why is he talking? Why is he still talking? I simply cannot figure out why Hunter Biden thinks that the Democratic Party or the world is in need of his opinions about politics," unquote. And we cannot figure out why anyone thinks the world is in need of Chris Cillizza's opinions about politics or anything. And this is from the Bulwark's Sarah Longwell, who believes Democrats should be punching back hard using blunt language, but also believes the center-right's path back to power by turning the Democratic Party into Republican light. Quote, "No one is happier than Donald Trump that Hunter Biden has decided we should hear from him at this moment," unquote. Now, the opinion on Blue Sky is quite the opposite from that, Sarah Longwell, and you might do well to read it.
Yeah.
And actually, we at the Professional Left podcast are very happy to hear from Hunter Biden at this moment. Hunter Biden is very welcome to be on our show.
Yeah.
And drop all the F-bombs that he previously dropped in this interview. And so here's one segment.
I don't have to be fucking nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. Fucking George Clooney is not a fucking actor. He is a fucking, I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. Fuck you. What do you have to do with fucking anything? Why do I have to fucking listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his fucking life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the fucking New York Times me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 fucking years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of fucking David Axelrod. And David Plouffe, and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior fucking speechwriters in, on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars. The Anita Dunns of the world, who's made 40, 50 million dollars off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times, how to pass more legislation than any president in history, how to have a better midterm election than anybody in history, and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run. And they're going to replace their judgment for his.
Not to mention...
Who's Jake Tapper's audience? Jake Tapper...
My mom or something? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
For real, though. I don't even think it's your mom anymore.
No.
By the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to shit after he put the book out. You know, they did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab, such a disservice to everybody that he serves with.
Hunter Biden also defended immigration and told Democratic consultants who want to triangulate with anti-immigrant bigots because of their, quote, legitimate concerns to fuck off.
We sit here and we talk about the one guy because there's a clear legal path to being able to get him back. What about all those other people? Am I not supposed to feel for someone? Am I going to be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your fucking table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your fucking garden? Who do you think is here by the fucking sheer fucking just grit and will that they figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance. And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals? White men in America are 45 more times likely to commit a fucking violent crime than an immigrant. And the media says, well, you got David Axelrod and, Rahm fucking Emanuel. So fucking smart, Rahm Emanuel. He said, we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters. Rahm, the only people that fucking appealed to those fucking white voters was Joe Biden, 81 years old. And he got 81 million votes. And he did not because he appeased their fucking Trumpian sense, but because he challenged it. And he said, you can be an 81-year-old Catholic from fucking Scranton that doesn't understand it, but still has empathy for transgender people and immigrants. And then nobody said, oh, Joe Biden's going to turn us into a socialist state, no matter how much they said it. But these guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to lead. I say, fuck you. How are we getting those people back from fucking El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what, if I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the fucking president of El Salvador and say, you either fucking send them back or I'm going to fucking invade. It's a fucking crime what they're doing.
We have a link to the full 3-hour interview in our show notes. He talks a lot about his recovery and so forth.
Yeah.
And by the way, we stand with Meatball Rob on Blue Sky, who posted, Hunter Biden defending immigrants and telling David Axelrod and Rahm Emanuel to go fuck themselves is my new religion.
Hell yeah. Amen to that, Meatball
Amen
Rob.
to that.
Oh, and by the way, Sarah Longwell, I know you're listening to this. Chris Eliza, you're not. You don't listen to this stuff. I thought Democrats were having a big tent party. I'm sorry, but if we have room for Tom Nichols and Bill Kristol and Joe Walsh in our party, surely there's enough room for Hunter Biden in our party telling the fucking truth.
Yep. And I got to say, as I said to you when we were going over these notes, Driftglass, I would have Joe Walsh over to the house and cook him dinner before I'll admit that Bill Kristol is in my big tent party.
Yeah. Yeah. And
there are degrees here.
And by the way, it's petty of me to mention this, but this is what happened when we let a bunch of never-Trumpers recently formed Republicans be appointed hall monitors of who gets to talk and who doesn't.
Right.
In
right.
our
Who
fucking
elected
party.
Chris Cillizza?
Yeah. Who the fuck elected Sarah Longwell telling anybody that Hunter Biden is not welcome to speak his mind, but Joe Walsh is? Or Bill Kristol, who is her boss, or at least her co-editor is. You know, I would run things very differently if I had gotten tens of millions of dollars from MSNBC to promote this podcast and then decide who gets to talk and who doesn't. I welcome allies. I do not welcome nags telling me, on the one hand, we need Democrats to be blunt and fight and use blunt language and be authentic, but except Hunter Biden, because we don't. Because if Hunter Biden doesn't open his mouth and tell the truth, what Republicans are going to give up and go home and say, "Well, I guess we lost."
Right.
No, they're going to make up more shit
about Hunter Biden unless he comes on television.
They're going to make up more shit and more shit and more shit, because that's the party you people fucking built.
Yeah.
They're doing what you taught them and trained them and programmed to do. So,
and Hunter Biden went on an indie podcast,
right,
with a Patreon called Channel 5 News, so he could say fuck.
Yeah.
So no one would gatekeep him.
Exactly.
All right.
Anyway, let us return to the subject of fathers and sons, and specifically stepfathers and stepsons. I'm a stepfather, and I appreciate the big stepfather energy in Superman. And the odd kind of mirror opposite ways that William Shakespeare's 425-year-old play and James Gunn's new movie actually play off each other a little bit. And we find that interesting. And to do this without spoilers is tricky, but we will do our best. However, if you are unfamiliar enough with Hamlet that I'm going to spoil it for you, well, shame on you. Shame
what's
on you.
up with that?
What the fuck is wrong with you? It's not like it's a black and white movie from the 40s that you can't watch. It's it's black and white. It's from the 70s. I don't know. Wings was that band that Paul McCartney was in, right? Anyway, I'm now old man shouting at 400-year-old cloud.
Yeah, you are.
But if I may quote the bard himself, assume a virtue if you have it not, and go see any version of Hamlet right now. Leave right now and come back. We especially like Kenneth Branagh's 1996 version. It's wonderful, it's unabridged, but they're all good.
With less remorse than Pyrrhus' bleeding sword now falls on Priam. Out, out, thou strumpet fortune! All you gods in general sinner, take away her power, break all the spokes and fellies from her wheel, and pull the round nave down the hill of heaven as low as to the fiends.
This is too long.
It shall to the barbers with your beard.
Prithee, say on.
He's for a jig, or a tale of bawdry, or he sleeps.
Say on.
Hamlet, in case you didn't know, is the son of a noble king murdered by his uncle, who marries his mother and becomes his stepfather, and every action in the play is triggered by this inciting incident. And I should mention, it's a soap opera.
Yeah.
It's the best goddamn soap opera ever written, but it's a soap opera. There's false identity, there's mistaken identity, there's murder, there's people leaping into graves and crying. It's fucking awesome. And Superman is the son of two of the noblest citizens of Krypton who die when the planet explodes. Superman is sent to Earth, where he's raised by John and Martha Kent in Smallville, Kansas, as their stepson. Every action in the movie is triggered by this inciting incident.
Yep. And both men are visited by apparitions of their dead fathers who give them their mission in life. And that is an amazing parallel when you think about it.
It really
Hamlet's father appears as a ghost, but the ghost is witnessed by other people in the play. So it's not, we know that Hamlet isn't crazy. He's not imagining this. It actually is authentic. Now, Superman's father appears as a hologram, and we in the audience know it's authentically his father talking to it. Although James Gunn does this with a little bit of a twist. We're not going to give it away, but there's a little bit of a twist. Now, Hamlet's mission given to him by his ghost father is revenge.
Yeah.
Clear and simple. Carry out the wishes of his dead father. He must kill the man who killed his father. But he's young and inexperienced, and the path to revenge is full of reversals and complications and drama. Because it's a soap opera. as
Because it's a
Drifquest said.
drama. Because it's a drama. Exactly.
It's a drama. And Superman's mission is to save lives, clear and simple. Truth, justice, and the American way.
Yep.
Carry out what he believes are the wishes of his dead father, but he is young and inexperienced, and his humanitarian path is full of reversals and complications.
Right. He's a young man.
And things get in the way of Superman.
They
and
do.
it's hard for him.
He
just like Hamlet.
He underestimates how hard it is. The timing is wrong. People tell him that he doesn't understand how the world works and try to convince him otherwise. These are two young men on very different missions, because in Hamlet, once the villain, who is Claudius, understands that Hamlet is endangering his plans, he enlists the help of trusted underlings to kill Hamlet, or to try to kill Hamlet. In Superman, once the villain, Lex Luthor, comes to believe Superman is endangering his plans, he enlists the help of trusted underlings to try to kill Superman. In both cases, there are, for lack of a better word, girlfriend complications.
Isn't that always the way, Driftglass?
Yeah. One is a Superman and one is Hamlet, so they end a little differently, but there are girlfriend complications. In both cases, the protagonists have a tight circle of friends whom they trust, and they can confide in. In the end, Hamlet carries out his father's command, and everybody dies, including the villain.
Spoiler!
Spoiler, sorry, man. Oh, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. By the way, just as an aside, if you haven't seen Hamlet recently, I know you've all seen it because we're just joking. Just make note next time you go through it, as we did and do as writers, how many different phrases and turns of phrases and slightly altered phrases have gone directly from Hamlet into the English
everyday
lexicon.
Parlance.
Everyday parlance.
Unbelievable.
Dozens and dozens and dozens of them. This is the invention of modern English.
Shake off this mortal coil is from Hamlet.
Yeah. North by Northwest
is from Hamlet.
Is from Hamlet. The undiscovered country, Star Trek fans,
is from Hamlet.
And
it's unreal.
And one of my favorite, what are you reading? Words is from Hamlet. The province of every sparrow that falls. And good night, sweet prince.
Yeah.
Angels sing thee to thy rest.
Yeah. It's all there, and we were stunned.
It's beautiful. If the only time you've ever read or seen Hamlet was when you're 18 or 19, it doesn't make sense the same way it does when you're in your later years, when you're an adult.
Like all great literature, reading it again when you're older it just rocks differently.
It does. And we were just loving every bit of it. But in the end, everybody dies, including the villain and innocent victims and Hamlet himself, because
and his girlfriend.
Shh, you spoiled that too. God damn it. Because this is a Shakespearean tragedy, so everybody dies. Yep.
Yeah.
But in the end, Superman is true to his upbringing by the Kents, and he saves almost everyone, including Lex Luthor, because this is Superman.
Yeah.
Also, Superman has a dog, and Hamlet doesn't have a dog, which is probably a really good thing, because that dog would have been killed in some really, really awful way.
Yeah, if Hamlet had a dog, that would just make the play too sad.
It's very,
we don't
very
need
sad.
a dead dog at the end of that play.
No, nobody needs that.
Nobody needs that.
Oh, but we thoroughly enjoyed both of these. And there are
Although for me, I gotta say, Gunn is a very talented filmmaker, and he knows how to make an action movie.
And you can spot a James Gunn film.
You can spot a James Gunn movie.
Yeah.
And the CGI is perfect, and it has the casting is perfect. I would say
it's great. It's great.
It's all of it. There wasn't a single character who was miscast. It has Alan Tudyk as a robot, which is you just have to have it.
And we both elbowed each other because we recognized the voice, like, it's Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, Driftglass immediately recognized the voice. I'm not as good as at recognizing Alan Tudyk's voice. I just assume if it's a robot, it's got to be Alan Tudyk. Yeah. But and Alan Tudyk's character really has a lot of personality.
He does. He really does. Yeah,
really has a lot of personality. Mm-hmm. And then Alan Tudyk's partner in Firefly. What's his name again?
You mean Nathan Fillion?
That's right. Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion is in this. And he is so funny.
Yeah, he is.
He is just adorable in this one.
And there are all kinds of Easter eggs if you're watching for them. The Hall of Justice is visually identical to the cartoon version of the Hall of Justice
from the 70s.
Anyway, as you were saying,
it's a good movie. And Gunn makes. And this is not a spoiler. This is just my opinion of the film.
Yeah.
Gunn makes some decisions about storytelling that are very different from the Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yes, fair enough.
It's still the same story. It's still the same Superman. It's still the same Lex Luthor. There's just some timelines that are different. There's some things that Gunn assumes you already know about Superman that you don't need to see again. The timeline is advanced a little bit. And it's like, I believe that Clark Kent is an essential part of the story of Superman, and I didn't think there was enough Clark Kent in this movie.
Yeah, fair enough.
If you like that angle of it from the Christopher Reeve movie, that is missing. But to his credit, Gunn keeps this movie at 2 hours.
He does.
And thank God for that.
Well, 2.5. 2.5 given the commercials.
Given the number of previews, yes.
Yeah. But I know that
the movie itself, I mean, that takes incredible discipline these days to not make a 4.5 hour movie.
I know you said you didn't like, there was a little bit too much punch fighting going on.
Well, and there was. But then again, Lex Luthor having all kinds of very, very dangerous technology, and he doesn't give a rat's butt about flooding the earth or destroying cities or anything like Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor didn't care. I don't care if I crack the earth in two. That's the villainy, right?
Oh, and by the way, if you've heard a rumor that this is political, hell yes, it's political.
Oh, hell to the yes, it's political.
Hell yes.
And woke.
I mean, and right down to the way social media is flooded with garbage.
Yeah.
I won't spoil it any further than that.
Yeah.
And I will say again, not to spoil anything, but James Gunn knows how to end a movie.
Yes.
In a way that reaches right down into your heart.
Right down into your heart.
So I teared up a little bit, just a little bit in the movie because, and like I said, it just, he knows this is the Superman I want.
Yep.
This is just a decent guy.
He's a decent guy.
Wants to do good things for, and he gets frustrated because events keep getting in his way.
Yeah.
And more than that would be a spoiler, but we can recommend it. Of course, we can recommend Hamlet. Again, go out and rent any version you like. I'm sure.
Or if you can see it live. This was the other comment Driftglass had after we sat down in this beautiful outdoor theater.
Yeah.
It's very much fashioned after the theater in Shakespeare's day. I mean, in terms of being open air.
Mm-hmm.
And Driftglass said, with all this AI and being able to make anything with CGI, live theater is going to come back.
Yeah.
And this one was sold out to the rafters, sold out.
Yeah.
And people want reality. They want genuine, to see real things really happen in front of them.
Yeah. And there's no CGI. There's a couple of trapdoors that, into which a coffin.
But there, and there's all of those things are things that would be in Shakespeare's day.
Oh, Globe Theater, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Trapdoor and somebody coming up and a little smoke and a little this and then and actors up in the audience coming down the stairs to enter the scene from the behind the audience and coming into the scene. And the costumes were wonderful. It's just there's nothing like live theater if you go into something that's really good and well done.
And by the way, the person they got to play both Polonius and the Gravedigger, was funny. He was funny. Very funny. He knew, and he didn't make up any jokes.
He was one of the Actors Equity professional actors, and the lines are funny, so you might as well be funny about them.
Yeah.
But it was well directed. Yeah, and he comes up out of the grave as a gravedigger and starts drumming with a couple of leg bones.
Yeah.
And kind of jazzing it up. Well directed. Yeah. Well directed play.
And a pleasure. And it was no significant parts were omitted. The whole play was there. It's a joy to watch. And if you need any more urging to go see Hamlet, I don't know what to tell you.
It was and a fun evening, and the weather was good, so we really enjoyed it.
Yes, we did.
And hopefully they'll have a play worthy of the ticket price for us next year. We're kind of picky.
We are.
We don't want to see Timon of Athens.
No. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. But I would go see Othello or Lear.
Yeah, and I would see Measure for Measure.
And Richard III. I'd go see Richard
III. Yeah, we're just picky. We have our favorite Shakespeare plays, and we'll go see them.
Oh, even Julius Caesar.
Yeah, Julius Caesar, which is a kind of basic play, but we would go see that.
Oh, and speaking of stepdad stuff, I would not particularly enjoy Romeo and Juliet. It's okay. It's beautifully written, but it's not. I've kind of outgrown that. But I do remember rehearsing the opening of that play for several days with middle child when she was in middle school, because she had to do the introduction, the two families, blah blah blah, et cetera, and just running lines.
Fair Verona, yes,
running lines with her for several hours
for her speech class.
And I just
as a stepdad,
so
which is why Superman got him right in the gut.
Got me. Superman got me right where you James Gunn. Got me. Maybe tear up a little bit.
You got me. The power of stepdads. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And on to the news, Blue Gal.
Yeah, let's do some news. This is from the office of Senator Dick Durbin, this letter, which reads in part, according to information my office received, Attorney General Pam Bondi pressured the FBI to put approximately 1,000 personnel on 24-hour shifts to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records in order to produce more documents that could then be released on an arbitrarily short deadline. This effort, which reportedly took place from March 14th through the end of March, was haphazardly supplemented by hundreds of FBI New York field office personnel. By the way, those are Rudy Giuliani's guys.
Yeah, his goons.
Many of whom lacked the expertise to identify statutorily protected information regarding child victims and child witnesses, or properly handle FOIA requests. My office was told that these personnel were instructed to flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned. Despite tens of thousands of personnel hours reviewing and re-reviewing these Epstein-related records over the course of 2 weeks in March, it took DOJ more than 3 additional months to officially find there is no incriminating client list, and the memorandum with this finding includes no mention of the whistleblower or additional documents, the existence of which Attorney General Bondi publicly claimed on February 27th. Unquote. As Marcy Wheeler at Empty Wheel posted, Pam Bondi reportedly created 1,000 witnesses to the Epstein file.
Yeah, great job. Just great job.
And there's also apparently a training video for these 1,000 folks plus the FBI field office on how to flag Donald Trump posts in the Epstein files.
It starts
so you've got a training video somewhere that somebody's got a copy of it on their laptop.
So you found a copy of Donald Trump involvement, but did you? So that's what the garbage can on the left side of your screen is for. Yeah. No, this is
a cover-up, and it's a badly handled cover-up.
Yeah.
Because Donald Trump does not hire smart people.
No.
He hires loyal people.
There's nobody who's smart who's left.
Yeah.
In that bunch of dimwits.
Yeah.
And
they all got pushed out.
Well, and his magic power is what it's always been, is the absolute bone stick stone stupidity and loyalty and bigotry of the base.
His religious faith.
Who will not allow this truth to be true. Right, and will burn the place down before but as hard as they try, there's too many holes in the dike right now. There's too many leaks.
Well, and Hal Sparks had a wonderful comment saying that their actual morality is getting in the way of the cult.
Yeah.
Because they've been told to actually care about child abuse and child rape.
Well,
and that is their moral core, is to care about that above all else.
Cool.
And so now you've told them to stop thinking about children getting raped. Well, Just stop thinking about child abuse.
No, just stop thinking, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And lots of them have. Lots of them just like,
Yeah.
I'm done with this. I'm done with it's all a hoax. Trump said it's a hoax. I'm done with the hoax. Let's talk about Barack Obama stealing money from Medicare. Because that's all this nonsense that they, again, have very clear memories of how good it made them feel in their naughty bits. When,
Hillary's emails.
That made me hard for the first time in 58 years.
Right.
Now, that got me up, let me tell you. And they remember how joyful it felt to hate people that they want to hate without
to be cruel,
interfering, any facts interfering with their with their degeneracy. This is also from Marcy Wheeler. Quote, Mike Johnson, Mr. Helpful. Quote, Mike Johnson quit work early to give Trump space to deal with his Jeffrey Epstein problem. Isn't that nice of him to do that? Amid a flood of Steve Bannon source stories in the New York Times, Washington Post, and CNN claiming Trump has solved his Jeffrey Epstein problem, and a parallel flood of document dumps, including the MLK files over the family's objections and a DOJ IG report showing that Peter Strzok was not permitted to investigate Hillary Clinton as aggressively as he wanted, attempting to reclaim Trump's authority to grab and redirect attention, Mike Johnson face-planted. Johnson was considering his meaningless, non-binding measure calling on Trump to release the Epstein files he already promised to release. But when asked by CNN, he said he'd give Trump, quote-unquote, space to deal with his Jeffrey Epstein problem. Yeah, when your opponents are making mistakes and drowning, throw them anchors, Blue Cow. Many anchors. Back to Marcy Wheeler. Johnson told CNN on Monday the full House would not vote on a pending measure from members of his own party, a non-binding resolution calling for the release of additional Epstein files before the chamber's August recess, which is slated to begin at the week's end. My belief is we need the administration to have space to do what it is doing. And if further congressional action is necessary or appropriate, then we will look at that. But I don't think we're at that point right now because we agree with the president, he said, unquote. And the House is on vacation until September. And you know what? You know what they should do between Democrats? I've heard this from many, many different sources. A press conference a day.
Yep.
On the steps of the Capitol or at your congressional office, or have a little old town hall meeting in some Republican's district who does not want to talk about this shit.
Yeah.
And have a press conference every day. I'm standing here ready and willing to talk about the Epstein files. Where's my opponent? I'm standing here waiting for Republicans to fulfill the promises they made to their own people. And yet, in this empty room, why is my opponent, Mary Nazi Miller, so bent on covering up child sexual predatory behavior on the part of her president and the part of his best dead friend, Jeffrey Epstein? Why is she willing to do that? What is wrong with her? What are her motives? Is she involved?
What about the victims? What about the victims?
And this is giving Democrats permission to be as blunt and as angry as we want them to be.
Yeah. And to fill the space, to fill the empty space created by hiding Republicans who ran off for a month.
And if you need a training film of how to talk about this stuff, Hunter Biden has a 3-hour interview that you can just review.
Well, and if that's not your cup of soup, if talking that way isn't your cup of soup, Mallory McMorrow, who is running for the Senate in Michigan, was asked about it and asked about releasing the Epstein files. And she grabbed the microphone and said, "Oh, yes." And she said, because of the victim.
Absolutely.
Because of the victim. Not, you don't need to bring Trump into it right away. Talk about the victims of this. People brought into this country from Eastern Europe and Russia, underage people, girls, sexually abused by rich white men. That is a kitchen table issue, as many people have pointed out.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And it has the additional virtue. All of your anger about this is 100% righteous and appropriate. That's what makes it so powerful.
Yeah. And both sides can agree, Driftglass, that raping children is a bad thing.
Both sides should agree, Blue Cow.
All right. Now, this is a little bit long, but it is something that, since I have a podcast, I want to talk about. It's not getting enough attention, and it really needs to get attention because it's about Republican corruption, which it turns out goes all the way down. like turtles, it goes all the way down.
All the way down.
This is from the Arkansas Times. Arkansas taxpayers loan Israel millions. As of July, Arkansas holds $55 million in Israeli bonds, including $20 million purchased since May 1st. That means Arkansas taxpayers have effectively loaned Israel $55 million to use how it sees fit. Two boards overseeing the pension funds of Arkansas state employees also recently voted to buy up to $100 million more in Israeli bonds within the next few years. As of June, the Arkansas Public Employee Retirement System authorized investing between $25 million and $50 million in Israeli bonds, while the Arkansas Teacher Retirement System authorized investing up to $50 million. Despite an objection by an ATRS board member, if the retirement systems act on those recommendations, Arkansas public entities could lend Israel up to $155 million. These recent decisions were made despite a recommendation made last fall by a senior investment manager within the state treasurer's office to hold off on buying more Israeli bonds. The internal report cited downgrades of Israel's long-term creditworthiness across all three major rating agencies. The purchases came after the state legislature in 2023 passed a bill touted as a way to depoliticize the state's financial holdings by prohibiting investments that adhere to so-called ESG principles. That is, environmental, social, and governance considerations. In other words, woke investments, which is what Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders would call them. The Arkansas law requires that the treasurer of state's evaluation of an investment shall be based only on pecuniary factors. But is Arkansas's purchase of Israeli bonds driven only by pecuniary factors, that is, for strictly financial reasons? Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders celebrated one of the recent purchase decisions on social media with an explicitly political framing. Arkansas puts its money where its mouth is and is investing millions in Israeli bonds! She proclaimed. Other state officials have also tied the state's Israeli bond purchases with political support for Israel. At an October 2023 State Board of Finance meeting, then Treasurer Larry Walther explained the state's intent to purchase more Israeli bonds. Investing in Israel bonds is a testament to our longstanding belief in Israel's resiliency and the value it brings to the global economy. Unquote. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, the father of Arkansas's current governor, is a longtime Christian Zionist who, and do I need to explain Christian Zionism? It means that you believe that Jesus is going to come back and convert all the Jews to Christianity, and the Jews that don't get converted to Christianity will burn in hell. That's Christian Zionism. Okay. He serves as the U.S. ambassador to Israel under President Trump. You got that? So the governor's daddy is the Israeli ambassador, and the governor is touting buying Israeli bonds with state money. Former Governor he's a former governor also. He's also former governor of Arkansas. Former Governor Huckabee, Mike Huckabee, still enjoys relationships with state officials serving under his daughter, and those ties appear to be another factor driving the state's investments in Israel. Oh, you're kidding me.
Shocking. I'm shocked.
Yeah. Jason Brady, the state's deputy auditor, noted this as an ancillary reason to purchase Israeli bonds when presenting a resolution at the Arkansas Retirement System Investment Committee in May. Do it because Mike Huckabee is ambassador, basically. The public official, I'm almost done here, but it just gets deeper and deeper. The public official behind Arkansas's recent spate of investments is State Auditor Dennis Milligan, who served as the state treasurer between 2015 and 2023. A former chairman of the state Republican Party, Milligan asked state legislators in 2017 to introduce a bill that would authorize the Arkansas State Treasury to purchase Israeli bonds. sponsored by former Senator Jason Rappert, a Republican who now serves as the chair of Christian Outreach for Israel Bonds. The bill was signed into law by then Governor Asa Hutchinson that year. Unquote.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's getting a cut.
Yep.
And in a recent 50-state ranking, Arkansas ranks 43rd in education, 47th in healthcare, and 40th in infrastructure. Arkansas has ranked as one of the country's 10 worst states for overall child well-being 9 times in the last decade. But they can afford to loan tens of millions of dollars to Israel. And don't forget those hefty brokerage fees paid to former Republican politicians.
Yep.
It's the corruption, stupid.
Yeah. Well, and stuff like this, it is always easy to focus on the national level, federal level madness going on in the White House.
Yeah.
But as you point out, this is Republican behavior all the way down to the grassroots.
All the way
This
down.
is how they operate.
We haven't even
at the
got
state level.
started with Texas and gerrymandering.
Texas and Florida and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But the entire party is rotten and depraved and corrupt and hiding behind a Bible and a flag all the time. And it makes me sick to my stomach that's the party that runs this country currently.
And they are putting the retirement funds of their state employees and teachers and loaning it to another country.
For Jesus.
First of all, that has moral issues anyway, but it doesn't matter which foreign country. In the end, it really doesn't matter, except that the governor's father, who is himself a former governor, and his cronies, the former governor is ambassador to the country that they're buying the bonds from. And there's the whole Christian Zionism part thrown in, because separation of church and state is out in Arkansas.
Oh, no.
All right. Deep breath, everybody. And, don't let any of this steal your joy. As Hal Sparks said in yesterday's show, which was very good, don't let any of this rob you from your joy.
Yeah.
And feel free to write to both of us at proleftpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. Be aware that if you write to us at any of our addresses, we reserve the right to read your email or U.S. Postal Service Go Postal Union's letter on the air unless you say otherwise. We had a letter from a listener yesterday, Driftglass, who sent us a donation and thanked us for not having ads on our show.
Oh, well.
And we are able to not have ads on this show because of your donations. So thank you for that.
Yeah, but once we take off, darling, we're selling out like the minute we hit a
We're
million
going to sell
followers.
Israel bonds.
We're selling out. Oh, highest bidder. Well, I don't care. Who's the highest? Cigarettes, liquor, crack. I don't care. Republican campaign commercials will take all your money.
I don't think
your
so.
money.
I don't think our marriage would survive that, Driftglass.
No. Well, what can I say? We've had a good run. That's all I can say. We've had a good run.
14 years next month.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm very excited. We're going to have an anniversary. Yeah.
3 bits of housekeeping before we close out the show. The first is I have been invited once again to join Brad and Desi and Digby on the Bradcast tomorrow. We're recording in the afternoon. What happens, I don't know when it goes live, but we're recording in the afternoon. So look for me if you want to hear more about, from my blathering mouth.
So that's July 23rd.
That's right. Tomorrow, July 23rd. Second, I don't know if it counts, but I believe since we talked about Superman, this counts as an episode of Science Fiction University.
It kind of does, yeah.
Because we've been remiss about that, and for reasons that I'm sure everyone will understand. But I long to get back to the good old days of breaking down episodes and movies and books that we both enjoy as writers, primarily, not as political commentators. And third, please share our show on social media. Because if you love this podcast, I'm sure you can find someone who will love it as well. So please get someone else to listen if you can, and rate and review. And thank you for doing all those things.
Hey, Driftglass, how are the Internet Kitties doing this week?
Well, Blue, the Internet Kitties would like to leave you with this.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 4 greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe.
Let's think about living. Think about living. Let's think about loving. Think about loving. Let's think about the hooping and the hopping and the popping and the lovey-dovey. Let's forget about the wine and the crying, the shooting and the dying, and the fellow with the switchblade knife. Let's think about living.
Question Left podcast is recorded under a Creative Commons license. Copyright 2024-25, GGBG Productions.